Kelly Clarkson has formed a version of Metallica's Sad But True on the karaoke portion of her show a few days ago, and this is interesting given the fact that Metallica recently performed a version of Elton John's Love Lies Bleeding and Funeral for a Friend, and I did a video on that performance if you want to go check it out. So now we've got Kelly Clarkson, the American Idol star, doing a version of Sad But True. So what you have here between the two is Metallica veering into strong pop music territory and a pop performer veering into thrash and heavy metal territory, even though the song Sad But True comes from what is arguably one of Metallica's most pop-centered albums. The song Sad But True has quite a crunchy riff, and this is one of the points of contention that I think Metallica fans might have with Kelly Clarkson's cover, but that doesn't tell the full story. I have some other thoughts about her cover of Sad But True that I want to share with you, but before I do that, you might want to hear a little bit of the song itself. This is the part of the song that has been getting the most attention because it has a big vocal note from Kelly Clarkson, and here we go, here it is. Alright, so you get the general idea. And what's the most apparent in that little clip is that they've reworked the song completely just by maximizing the vocal and minimizing the riff, which is the opposite of the approach that Metallica took with the original song. The question is whether or not this is an effective reworking of the song, and I think that depends entirely on your orientation as a listener. So if you are a die-hard Metallica fan, you won't like this new arrangement of the song because it kind of takes all the teeth out of it. If you're a Kelly Clarkson fan, you probably will like this version of the song because it shows off her vocal abilities and also gives her new territory to spread out in. Now, it's on this last point that I'd like to make a couple of observations. When Metallica did their cover of Elton John's song, they didn't do a lot of copying. They went and made the song their own. This brought to my attention a lot of the heavier elements that had existed in the track for all these years that I hadn't really noticed before. Similarly, although I wouldn't consider myself a particular fan of Kelly Clarkson's version of Sad But True, when I listen to it, her reworking and rearrangement of the song, it shows different aspects of the original composition that I hadn't paid attention to for all these years. In particular, the song is much more musical and much more reflective than I had given it credit for in the past. So whether or not you like Kelly Clarkson's version, you see a different angle on the song. And whether or not you like Metallica's version of Elton John's Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding, you see a different version of that song. You also see different capacities for the genres of music. So, for example, when Metallica does their version of that Elton John song, you see that pop can be driven by the same kind of heaviness and the same kind of riffiness as metal music, even though it's presented in a completely different way. Why I think this is important is because as we enter into an era of music fusion, I mean, all eras are kind of like that, but right now we seem to be hitting a pronounced period of musical fusion where different genres and different types of bands are fusing together, and AI and technologically enhanced production methods are making this a lot easier. At the same time that that's happening, we're entering into a period where all the classic bands are getting older and selling off their catalogs. Very likely to see all the old songs, all the old standards reworked, given new coats of paint, and used as showcases like this for up-and-coming artists who either want to break new ground, surprise their fans, or pay tribute to artists that they personally loved, or all three of the above. I think this may be the case with what Kelly Clarkson has done with Sad But True, and I definitely think we're going to see more incidents like this in the future where there's crossover covers. And I also think that that's a good thing. Whether or not you like the individual cover, the opportunity to see old songs in a new way is always good. Anyway, this is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below. And remember to like and subscribe. Also, I'd like to point out that there's a join button available for those of you who would like to support the site. If you choose to join, you'll have access to members-only polls, members-only videos, members-only badges, and lots of other cool perks that you can see if you click that button, which I hope you'll do. Also, if you're interested, we're currently running a poll over in the community section on whether or not the Rolling Stones are too old to tour, and that has a slight connection with the topic in this video, since Metallica is currently also on tour and at some point will be facing the same question of whether or not age is an impediment to them continuing. Now for Metallica, because they play such an aggressive, complicated form of music, that day may come sooner than it has come for the Rolling Stones. Stones, now in their 80s, are still continuing to perform at what I consider to be a very high level, but I'd be interested to see what you think. I think right now most of channel viewers seem to think the Rolling Stones are getting up there in age and probably should think about retiring. I happen to feel the opposite. Anyway, I hope you'll choose to participate in the poll and in the community discussion, which you can get to through the link below. Thanks a lot.